In today's Warzone video, I'm going over the top 5 most meta SMG loadouts you guys should be using. These are going to be statistically the most highly used and best possible SMGs you guys could be using in the entirety of Warzone. If you haven't enjoyed today's video, give it a like, subscribe, notifications turned on, and let's hop into this. All right, first thing is first, we're going to hop into a PPSH build. This is going to be more or less kind of like hipfire super close range build, so you guys are definitely going to love this one. So let's get into it. First thing, muzzle category, we're going to go for the recoil booster here to increase that fire rate like always. In the barrel section, we got to go for the Kolvaskaya 230mm B03P barrel. Got to run this for the optimal, close quarters, hip fire accuracy, all this sort of jazz, increase in fire rate. Definitely the way to go for this gun. On the barrel section, we're going to switch this up here a little bit. You guys can go for the Carver foregrip, but what's also really good is going to be the SMLE pistol grip. This is going to further increase your hip fire accuracy, your sprint to fire speed, and your aim walking movement speed, but it's not really going to help you out with your recoil control in any capacity. So if you guys are going to be using this for like ADSing a lot more so, like even in those close quarter situations, go for like something like a Carver foregrip. But if you don't really care too much about that, you can control that recoil. Go for the SMLE pistol grip, as that's going to be really, really good. Magazine section, we got to go for the 8mm Nambu 71 round mag. Always got to go for this on those hip fire builds. This is definitely the way to go. Ammunition side of things, we're actually going to go for hollow point for the increase in limb damage. This is going to help you guys out when you're hip firing. Obviously, you're not going to be ADSing all that much, so this is going to be pretty crucial. Rear grip section here, what we're going to do is we're going to go down here. We're going to find the pine tar grip for that recoil control and hip fire accuracy. Once again, going to bolster our hip fire. Definitely really good for that. Optic section is where it comes a little more personal preference. You guys can run something like a slate reflector if you really want to, but I don't really recommend that all that much here. Is specifically on this build, I'd probably go for something like using the iron sights here. One of these iron sights is going to be pretty much like my go-to on this thing. I just like to run the larger set of iron sights, and I find that to be really good. Stock section, what we're going to do is we're going to go through on the remove stock here for that maximum hip fire accuracy, movement speed, and sprint to fire speed. This is real solid. In the perk 1 section, what we're going to do is we're going to go through on tight grip for accuracy and recoil during sustained fire, further helping us out here with this build. And then perk 2, we're going to go for that quick, that overall increase in sprint speed. This is my full builds here for the PPSH. Super good. Definitely should be using this thing. Absolutely love it. One of my favorite guns to use in Warzone right now. Next up, I'm going to give you guys a build here for the Armaguerra, the Armaguerra, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be one of my personal favorite builds to use on this thing. There's actually quite a few like viable Armaguerra builds, but this is definitely a really solid one that I think you're going to really enjoy. So first thing, muzzle, we're going to go through on the recoil booster here. We always do that for our Vanguard SMGs. Barrel section, what we're going to do is we're actually going to throw in the body 570mm precision barrel. This is actually really solid, believe it or not. They did try to nerf this thing a little bit, but I actually fell kind of a bit in love with using this thing, and it's really solid. So definitely go ahead and try this one out here with this specific build. Now in the underbarrel section, we're going to go for the Mark VI skeletal here for that increase in ADS speed, movement speed. This is definitely a way to go here. I've ran some different foregrips, but for this specific, foregrip slash underbarrel, definitely the Mark VI skeletal is the way to go. Magazine, we're going to go for the 9mm 60 round mag. This is my personal preference on this thing. I know some people like to run the 8mm Curse 72, but I personally don't like this one really all that much. It's just not that great, and the recoil is a little bit ridiculous in my opinion. So I go for the 9mm 60, and it's never failed me. Ammunition, we're going to go for subsonic so we don't get any mini-map ping. This is a pretty good one right here, and I definitely recommend if you guys run subsonic, or you can run something like lengthened. It's really not going to matter too much, but of course with lengthened you will be on the radar when you're firing, which can or cannot be a good thing depending on how strong of a player you feel like you are, and if you want to track people to your general location. But otherwise, people are still going to be able to hear you with subsonic. Rear grip section here, I'm actually going to go through on taped here. This is going to be a maximum movement speed style rear grip. I actually really like running taped here with this specific setup. It's actually really fun. And then in the optic, we're going to go, of course, for the slate reflector here, or you guys can run something like the Night Arm Model 47. It's up to you guys. I always go for the slate because I believe it's the easiest to be able to see. It's the most precise. And of course, it's just a really clear red dot sight. So I really like that. Stock section, what we're going to do is we're going to go through on the Amaretto TA skeletal. This is my preference on this one. It's also kind of like the meta stock that pretty much everybody uses for like their Armaguerra build. So pretty much like preference and meta, it's kind of right there. And then in perk 1, we're actually going to go through on vital for that increase in torso damage, because the precision barrel actually decreases your torso damage ever so slightly. This is going to kind of bump it right back up into that normal, even a little bit above that range. So it's going to be really solid to run vital on this thing. And then in perk 2, we're going to go run quick for that increase in sprint speed. This is my full build here for the Armaguerra. Real fun one to be able to run. I absolutely love using this gun. It's like my go-to SMG. All right, next up, we're gonna give you guys a build here for the H4 Blixen. I personally still really like the Blixen. I don't use it all that much because my preference is like the PPSH, the Armaguerra, so on and so forth, but this is still a really good gun, so I got to give you a build for it. Muzzle, we're gonna go, of course, here for the recoil booster. Barrel section, we're actually gonna go for the Bergstrom 17F3. This is gonna be the best barrel to run for a large majority of people out there because with the Johnson 9 RMK, this is gonna really mess up with your recoil control and all that stuff. And for a lot of people that are gonna be on console specifically, the Bergstrom is gonna be better, and also it just works more or less kind of better anyways. So I just definitely say to run the Bergstrom. Underbarrel, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through on the Mark VI skeletal here. This is not gonna be more of a standard like strafe speed build here for the H4. This is gonna incorporate a little bit more movement speed, so the Mark VI is gonna work out great here. Ammunition, we had to go for the 7.62 Gorenko 54 round mag. We just pretty much always run the Gorenko 54 over the 36. The damage per mag is better on the 54, so no reason to run the 36. Ammunition, we're gonna go for subsonic here like we did in our previous build. It's just gonna keep us off the minimap, which is always a good thing, especially because you are unsilenced. Rear grip, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through on the taped grip here for that maximum sort of increase in overall, sprint to fire speed, weapon swap quickness, movement speed, aiming stability, all really great stuff with no cons, so you can't complain about that. Now on the optic, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through on the slate reflector here, pretty much like always. I've seen people try to run the iron sights. I personally don't like the iron sights on this thing all that much, and I think the slate reflector is kind of like your better option. Now in the stock section, we're gonna go for the Bergstrom MB for hipfire accuracy, ADS speed, and movement speed. Though you can definitely go for the remove stock, but just kind of be forewarned that you will start having more flinch resistance, issues than you will with the Bergstrom MB. Perk 1, we're gonna go for fleet for weapon swap quickness and movement speed. Then in perk 2, we're gonna go for quick for that overall increase in sprint speed. So this is my full builds here for the H4 Blixen. Hope y'all enjoy this one. Real fun SMG to be able to use. Definitely try it out. Next up, I gotta give you guys builds here for the Type 100. So this is a gun that gets a little bit more underappreciated, underloved, but it's got pretty much one of the fastest TTKs for any SMG in Warzone. So it's definitely something that should be used. So first thing, muzzle, we're gonna go for the recoil booster for that increase in fire rate. Barrel section, we're gonna go for the very last barrel here, the Warabuchi 134mm rapid, increase in fire rate, and of course damage range. Don't pay attention to these cons, so we're not too worried about this. You're still gonna have like pretty much the fastest TTK in Warzone. On the barrel section, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through on the SG98 compact here. This is gonna help us strafe around quite a bit, and that's really beneficial with this specific build. And the magazine, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through on the Russian short 36. You definitely gotta run the 36 on this. This is what makes this thing like super good. It gives us that increase in damage range that we pretty much would have lost here with that barrel, because it decreased our overall damage and stuff like that. So this kind of makes up for it, and even then some. Ammunition, we're gonna go for subsonic here. Real solid to keep off the minimap, of course. In the rig up section here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through on the groove grip here for aim walking, movement speed, horizontal recoil control, ADS firing move speed, and of course aiming stability. All really good stuff. Optic, we're gonna go through on the slate reflector. You have to run this. Don't ever run those iron sights. This gun's gonna bounce around too much to be using some iron sights. It's not like the H4 Blixen or like the MP40, something like that, where you can get away with some iron sights. It 100% needs a red dot sight on it. Now in the stock section, we're gonna go actually is for the Warabuchi grip folding for aim walking, movement speed, initial walking steadiness, and of course initial firing recoil. This is gonna help us kind of like really mitigate out any of that bounce we would have gotten, and of course you're still gonna have a little bit of it you're gonna have to control, but overall it's a really good option. Now in perk 1, we're actually gonna go for sleight of hand here for that increase in reload quickness. Because we got a 36 round mag, you're gonna need to reload a little more often than you would if you happen to have like the 60 round mag, for instance, on the Armaguerra. So definitely gonna go for sleight of hand. Perk 2, and of course we're just gonna go for quick here like always on these SMGs. This is my full build here for the Type 100. Hope y'all enjoy this one. I love using the Type 100, but I just don't ever see it getting used, and I just don't really get why. Last but not least, we're gonna go for an MP40 build. I know a lot of y'all out there really love the MP40 for good reason. It's a really solid SMG to be able to use, so let's get into it. First thing, muzzle, gotta go for the recoil booster. Barrel section, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go for the VDD 189mm short barrel, damage range, bullet velocity, and of course limb damage. All really good stuff here to have on a barrel. Underbarrel section, we're gonna go down here and throw on the Mark VI skeletal here for the increase in ADS speed, movement speed. This is really gonna help us out here overall in terms of making this thing more viable to compete with all the other different meta weapons. I really like the Mark VI, so I go for this one pretty much exclusively. Now, in the magazine side of things, we're going to go for the 7.62 Gorenka 45 round mag. We've pretty much been going for the Gorenka 45 for as long as I can remember, just because it's the best one out there, so there's no reason to switch it up. Now, on the ammunition side of things, what we're going to go down here and do is we're going to go throw on subsonic here, of course, to stay off the mini map. Rear grip, I'm actually going to go throw on, is it the tape grips here? I was about to say I'm looking for it because they kind of switched around for these different guns and the placing of where it's at. But the tape grip here for that maximum sort of increase in their overall movement speed. It's got no cons to it like pretty much all the other ones here for all the other SMGs. So tape grip is a really, really solid rear grip. Optic, we got to go for either the slate reflector here, and this is what I was talking about a little bit previously, is that you can go for the slate reflector, or you can go a little crazy with it and go down here for the iron sights. It's kind of up to you. These iron sights are super easy to be able to use, so if you want to increase in ADS speed, the Krausnik ISO1M or the ISO2M are going to be really solid. They just look, of course, a little bit different. But for this build, let's go throw on some iron sights and get a little bit more mobility, a little bit more ADS speed out of this build. Now, stock, we're going to go for the Krausnik 33M folding for that increase in sprint to fire and, of course, movement speed. The remove stock can work out pretty nicely as well, but for this specific build, I do believe the Krausnik 33M folding works out better. Now, in perk 1, we're actually going to go down here and we're going to go throw on brace for that initial firing recoil, or if you guys really want to do something a little bit crazy with it, you guys can probably go for something like steady for that overall increase in ADS firing move speed. That's going to be really good right there. But if you guys need a little bit of help on that recoil control, go for brace, and that'll work out very nicely. And of course, in perk 2, like always, we got to go for quick. So this is my full builds here on this MP40. Hope you all enjoyed this one. If you guys haven't enjoyed today's video, give it a like, subscribe with notifications turned on, and I'll see you all later. Just remember, no cap, don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.